I think the diaspora's leaders have a lot of lessons that they should reflect upon in the way that they approached the previous elections and the way in which they were, to a large extent, uncritical of Poroshenko and his record, and were very dismissive of Zelensky. If you are the diaspora, you are loyal to Ukraine, well, loyal in the sense that you support Ukraine, and you may be loyal citizens of another country, but in the sense of you're supportive of, and therefore you have to respect whether you like the politics of the candidate that wins or not. You have to respect the fact that he or she have been chosen by the vast majority or the majority of the population. And I think that what we saw in the diaspora, and I think that this was negative, instead of the diaspora showing greater political sophistication, representing sophisticated political cultures from the countries that they're in, there was almost a repetition of what we saw within Ukraine, a kind of hardline stance that, oh, this is the end of Ukraine. If Zelensky gets in, let's not give him the benefit of the doubt because Russia is going to gain. My advice would have been work with the guy, stretch out a hand to him, don't paint him into a corner by making him feel that he's got potential enemies, not allies out there, and win him over, bring him over, go meet, talk, explain your concerns, start a dialogue, and offer the advice in the areas where you feel your advice will be necessary. After all, he, after this cold shower that he got from much of the diaspora, I would have thought that he would have backed off for a while and waited until he had decent results at home, if he got them, and then gone again, to visit. But I think that he's made an effort, and he's made the right sounds about integrating those Ukrainian patriots from the diaspora who want to help. He's said so far that there is plenty of room for them, and that opportunities will be created. That's a lot more than Poroshenko did, even though Poroshenko, in his embroidered shirt and I'm Ukraine type of pitch, did. If this works, and if in fact they move away from just having this ornery, ethnic Ukrainian status that some of us had, zakordonny Ukrainec, Ukrainian living abroad or whatever, but having a kind of halfway house between citizenship and whatever is going to be offered, visa-free travel, long-term residency, but the ability to work within government structures, maybe not to vote, but at least, there are a lot of us that could still offer something, and we're not in it for the money. We're in it because we care about Ukraine. And many of us have devoted our lives to this country and still do. And I think that there are those within his administration that recognize that. But of course, there may be gatekeepers that resent that don't want our types there to advise at this particular moment. So I think the bottom line is also returning to some of the questions you asked at the very beginning. In this administration, if we give him a B or a B plus, the negative factor are the gatekeepers that have, shall we say, created a very, very close, tight circle around him, and which seem to control the flow of information to him and from him. And for me, these people are not perhaps the most sophisticated politically and experienced in terms of the ways of the world other than business or show business, certainly in terms of diplomacy, in terms of how the outside world functions, certainly in terms of democratic standards and treatment of journalists. So my wish would be to see that he practice what he preaches and not only attempt to open up the system generally, but open up his administration to those benign forces that want to support it. The more pluralism we have, as long as it's constructive, we can all have different views and approaches, but we should be tolerant and we should find ways of making it count, bringing added value at the end of the day, and not just preaching. Pleasure talking to you as always. All the best, and to all colleagues in Toronto. All the best. Дякую.